Hi, my name is Molly Medina, and my speech today is on school uniforms. Will it make a difference in students' lives? When we were visiting family in Brisbane, Australia, I observed several groups of students at a gathering at the mall, and they caught my attention because they were all dressed in school uniforms. But that was not all that I noticed. And as I continued to observe, I was impressed with their behavior, their mannerism, and language. What was different about these students, and what is it that set them apart from the students I observed earlier? Was it the school uniforms that they wore? Well, working with students in my school district, I've observed the many times students in high school, middle school, and grade school would come to school dressed in not so nice clothes, and other students would come dressed with the latest fashion. And our children come from different socioeconomics in my school district. I think if parents and the community were aware of the challenges that students are facing in their schools, they would help because they care. Now, they may offer suggestions to a school district to look into school uniforms and what impact it would make, starting with the students in the middle school and grade school level. I found that students learn best when there's a sense of unity in the classroom and a feeling of belonging. So I've never worn a uniform to school, but I have been around students who wore uniforms to school every day. School uniforms have always been worn in private school. I know because my husband wore uniforms in private school from kindergarten to 12th grade. And it made a huge difference in him and his siblings. And he liked it. My husband said, choosing what to wear was simple for him, and the choices were easy. Students in public schools have been wearing school uniforms as well as in several districts. Today, I'm going to share with you the positive impact that the school uniforms can have on students in public schools and what some districts in the United States are doing to help families afford school uniforms. Why school uniforms are important to families and students? Well, because it creates a positive impact, and school uniforms can be affordable to parents and students. Uniform creates positive attitudes, and wearing school uniforms in public and private schools helps make a difference in the lives of students. It creates a positive atmosphere as well as attitudes in the classroom among peers. President Clinton and the Department of Education were encouraging school districts to adopt school uniforms. And the Department of Education in 1996 found that only 3% of public schools required school uniform. And in 2005, wearing school uniforms quadrupled and jumped to 14%, especially in public schools. Uniforms are encouraged and worn in many of the large school districts in the country. This is a time and also the belief that having uniforms in school would bring about positive impact on student behaviors and discipline in the classroom. Wearing school uniforms instills respect for faculty, administrations, and for students as well. The classroom behavior and disruption is reduced as well as peer pressure. Increased student learning and positive attitudes towards teachers and peers. There is also a feeling of school pride for oneself and for their environment. School uniforms also brings about safety awareness among students and faculty. It increases student attendance. It builds good student-teacher relationship as well as lower school suspension among students. Having school uniforms influences students to a positive way as well as teachers, parents, and community. It creates a positive relationship among students that can have a lasting impact. Students tend to behave differently and they become more involved in extracurricular activities in their community, such as working in soup kitchens, also passing out blankets for the homeless, and tutoring for grade school students. Wearing school uniforms to school take the pressure off parents and students. It helps students to want to do well, want to be successful. And it also inspires students to do well in the classroom and have positive communication with peers, faculty, and parents. Now that I've talked about the positive impact that wearing school uniforms may have on students, I also want to talk about how parents can afford school uniforms and what schools are doing to um, help. School districts are trying to make school uniforms affordable for families, and students with uniforms and are given students are given information about thrift shops, consignment stores, and other popular shopping stores that sell uniforms at a reasonable price, so that parents can be able to take care of their children. Different schools will have simple uniforms for their students to purchase and wear that is affordable for many families. For boys, khaki pants and polo shirts and a white dress shirt. For girls, they can wear plaid skirts with a polo shirt and also a nice white blouse. Many schools will implement other colors to add to their uniforms, to the school uniforms that are already in place. It also relieves pressure for parents and students who are trying to figure out what to wear to school the next day. I hope that bringing this topic of school uniforms to the forefront will help us understand some of the positive impact it may have on students, and that uniforms are made affordable to families, that school districts are working with families to make us that possible. And now that we know that school uniforms not only relieves pressure from parents as well as students, that students now feel that they can do much better in the classroom, in school, and in the classroom setting. In my conclusion, I wanted to share that uniforms worn by students, whether in private schools or in public schools, have had a positive impact with their learning and behavior in the classroom. Positive relationships are formed between teachers and students, as well as parents and community. I have seen positive things that students have been able to do in middle schools and in high schools, and they have become involved so much with their community. A feeling of pride and accomplishment for these students in their school uniforms is important, and the same can be said for those students who choose not to wear a uniform. For the many students who choose to wear their uniform to school, it is a pride that they feel and bring to themselves. Just as a police officer makes a difference when he gets up in the morning to put on his uniform every day to go to work. So did the school uniforms. So did the school uniform make a difference in the students' behavior I observed at the mall in Brisbane, Australia? You bet it did, because the students' behavior, their language, and their actions showed me that not only did they take pride in what they wore, but they also take pride in themselves. And because of the things that they enjoyed, they were able to take pride for themselves and be able to take pride in their families, their schools, their community, and especially for their peers.